what would you do when you are absolutely confronted with a crisis of life? You see, I think for many of us, if we get the chance to do that and survive, we're going to feel better about ourselves, you see. And not that many people are confronted with that. People who climb mountains want to do that because they're simulating this crisis of life, if you like, of what their limits are. You see, and I think you get that through sport. Each time you go out and play, you say, what are my limits? What can I do to test me?
This would be Lindsay Gaze's final tournament as head coach of the national team. He was replaced by Adrian Hurley but would continue his coaching career in the NBL with the Melbourne Tigers.
Without exception, from here, I can see maybe Andrew's trying a little bit, Mark's trying a bit, I see a little bit here and there. I want to say on a scale of 1 to 10, about 2.5.
He's been around basketball since the 1956 Melbourne Olympics, and before. Was national coach for the best part of 15 years and helped make the Boomers into a genuine world force. He's also done a fair job with this bloke, 22-year-old son Andrew, who looks like keeping the Gaze basketball dynasty in the headlines for the next decade or so.
Andrew Barry Casson Gaze. You're born in East Melbourne on the 24th of July 1965. You're the youngest of 2 children. Your father, Lindsay, is the national basketball coach and an administrator for the Victorian Basketball Association. With that job comes a small cottage connected to Albert Park Stadium and 9 basketball courts. You literally grow up under a basket.
Andrew would play for his father, winning the Rookie of the Year award in his debut season in 1984. The national squad's first tournament without Lindsay Gaze at the helm was the 1986 FIBA World Championships in Spain. The Boomers lost all 3 of their group games and failed to advance. To tune up for the 1988 Olympics, the team held a series of games against the Soviet Union sponsored by Wang Laboratories.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Melbourne Sports and Entertainment Centre for the 6th and final test in the Wang Super Challenge between Australia and the USSR. Coming into today's final test, the Soviet Union has a rather handy lead of 5-0, but a very exciting test in Sydney last night. The 5th test saw the Australians get within 4 points of the Soviets with just 6 minutes on the clock. There are the details of last night's game. Soviet Union...
Gaze taking all the way to the hoop. Steal, full length of the floor, 193. Carroll, 3-point shot from him. It's hard off the iron. Paul Piper with the rebound against Volkov. Piper can't make it. Border with a second chance. But it's Volkov's rebound. The Australia's reaching in there. They get it back through Border. 3-point shot from Gaze. There it goes. 500 points to 96. 39 points for Andrew Gaze. 102-96. Andrew Gaze for 3 again. Unbelievable shooting. 102-99.
What a great effort from Andrew Gaze. 42 points.
And it's 5 seconds to go, and Australia down by 3. Look for the ball to go back to Gaze. Here it is. He's one for 3. Andrew Gaze heaving them in from everywhere at 45 points and 102 points apiece.
At first the knockers said young Andrew was playing for Australia because his dad was the coach. Against the Russians in Melbourne last year, he wiped those memories away forever with a brilliant individual performance that spellbound the 7,000 people at the Glass House. The boy with the angelic looks fired in 11 three-pointers and tallied up 44 points in one of the great sharpshooting displays seen in this country. With his Olympic selection a mere formality on Friday, Gaze must now decide whether he will accept an offer from Seton Hall University in Newark, New Jersey, and move into the tough Big East Conference.
I'm not 100% committed, but I've signed a letter of intent which says that if I do go to the United States, I will be attending Seton Hall University. After the Olympics, I'll commit myself one way or the other.
People talk about the possibility of going to the pros or being drafted and so on. Any young player in the United States ought to realise that you've got about as much chance of doing that as being hit by lightning. His scoring has always been consistent, and that's what people mostly recognise. But the other aspects of his game, his passing, his better playmaking abilities, and leading the team as far as the organisation has improved quite significantly this year. He doesn't play so much on emotion alone.
In Los Angeles, Andrew Gaze was an 18-year-old, the youngest player ever to represent his country at an Olympic Games basketball tournament. In Seoul, come September, he returns as Australia's top player.
By the time the national team flew out to Seoul for the 1988 Olympics, a new generation of talented Australian basketball players were emerging, spearheaded by Luc Longley. He was one of the first prospects to come out of the Australian Institute of Sport and was currently playing for the New Mexico Lobos in the NCAA.
Andrew Gaze was in his second Olympics. Phil Smythe was a real great Olympian at this time. Larry Senstock, we had Ray Borner and Wayne Carroll. We had that experience group, but then we had this marvellous little group of Bradke, Longley and Vlahoff, all who were 18, 19, 20 years of age. And that was extremely controversial in my choosing those particular players, because they never played in the NBL. They were still playing in college in America, but I knew that they would become, in my own mind, they would become greats of the game.
The Boomers would once again come up against Spain, and this time they were ready, outlasting them 77-74 to advance to the semi-finals.
They want to control the tempo of this game, and Smythe will do that. No foul from Salazar.
How can they not call that a foul?
They won't call the foul. Epi up on Carroll, chopping it away at his arms. In they go to Bradke. Mark Bradke, hit this shot, please. No, he can't. It's Vlahoff battling for the ball underneath. Andrew Vlahoff misses. That's a nervous shot from Vlahoff. And Andrew Vlahoff, the poor kid, would just be dying inside at the moment as he knows he's missed down one end. One of the most experienced teams in Europe, the Spaniards. Los Angeles silver medalists, and Villacampa makes two off the line. Well, that's not too bad. That won't cause a lot of problems. Australia with the ball. They've got to score this time, really, to put some daylight between them and Spain. There are 14 seconds left on the shot clock, 32 seconds left on the game clock. Carroll for Australia. On the free throw line, take it to the hoop, passed in the inside. 3 seconds is the call, no basket.
We got a nail-biter here, 3 points in at 25 seconds on the clock. Spain could tie it up with one shot.
Spain looking for this shot to tie the ball game up, to take it into overtime. We don't need a foul, Australia. Force the Spanish to take a two-pointer. They fire up for three. Australia's ball. It's Australia's ball. They get it to Smythe. 4 seconds left. They've got it won. Carroll out of the backcourt. Into Bradke, and Australia's won into the semi-finals. It's 77-74 Australia.
That was the Aussie girls in the background. They're in the semi-finals. The men are in the semi-finals. What a great 2 days this has been for Australian basketball.
Following their loss to a Yugoslavia team that is remembered as one of the greatest of all time, they had a chance to earn the country's first bronze medal in basketball. The Admiral, David Robinson, led a United States team who had just been defeated by the Soviet Union. A determined performance saw the US hold Australia to just 49 points. Andrew Gaze would play for Seton Hall following the 1988 Olympics.
Well, he scored 46 against us 3 years ago. You wouldn't have been too smart to notice that he could have helped us, and outside shooting's been a problem for us.
Andrew Gaze isn't your average Seton Hall junior. For starters, he's 23 years old. He also happens to be from the land down under. Melbourne, Australia is 10,000 miles away from the friendly confines of Walsh Hall in South Orange. That's a 20-hour trip by plane.
He featured heavily for the team and helped them reach the Final Four for the first time in the school's history.
Like Paul Hogan, Australia's most famous citizen, Gaze says getting used to the metropolitan area takes time.
There's such a massive population living, virtually people are living on top of each other over here, whereas back home I think things are much more spread out. And I guess when people are living on top of each other like they are here, it seems that everyone's like fighting for their little piece of existence.
I feel a little insane. I feel a bad taste. My legs are shrinking and my roots
returned to Melbourne and resumed his career in the NBL, playing for his father. The league was beginning to grow in popularity but remained as turbulent as ever, with teams relocating and folding with alarming regularity.
In Australia right now, we have a very high standard of competition. At the Seoul Olympics, we finished fourth behind the Americans who finished third. We played off for a bronze medal with them. Then I think you can get a better idea of the level of competition we're at.
Andrew Gaze had always been recognised as a prolific scorer, the greatest in Australian basketball history. In the 87-88 season he averaged 44.1 points per game.
Quickly to Gaze. Oh, Elliott coming up. No. Gaze! Outrageous. Look at Bradkey. The Tigers can't believe it.
On 4 other occasions he would average over 35 points per game, and also had 10 more seasons averaging over 30 points per game. During the early 90s, he would earn the NBL MVP award in back-to-back seasons, as well as the league championship in 1993 and 1997. His impressive performance for the national team continued through the 90s as he would regularly place amongst the top scorers, helping his team earn respectable placements in the World Championships and Olympics.
I think that it's a very rare opportunity that you have to share a very special moment, and something that I guess collectively as a family that we've worked together for, and to experience that with your father and with our family was a fantastic honour, and I suppose that it is also just rewards for the effort that my dad has made and the contribution that he's made as well.
He remained committed to the Melbourne Tigers of the NBL, but also played seasons in Italy, Greece and briefly in the NBA with the Washington Bullets.
See Andrew Gaze play tonight, the Australian player. Did you watch this basketball game?
Yes. At the Bullets Stadium, Gaze expected to sit out most of this game against the Denver Nuggets. But the Washington team has so many injured players, he was soon on the court.
He works the ball around really well. He seems to be a team-oriented player. I really enjoy watching him.
So, yeah. Gaze says this offer to try out for Washington just came out of the blue. And if he's asked to stay on, well, that'd be a nice surprise too.
He was so cool, man.
Oh, he was just awesome.
I mean, you're talking cheese. I think that the league here, you're talking about bigger, quicker, more talented athletic bodies, and so I mean it really is a fair way apart, but you know, hopefully my skills in some way, if there's a role for me here, then perhaps I can stay.
His impressive performance for the national team continued through the 90s as he would regularly place amongst the top scorers, helping his team earn respectable placements in the World Championships and Olympics.
In '88, we were considered an absolute significant upset to the rest of the world when we finished in the top 4. But from that point on, we'd gained the respect. It enabled us to have a long period of time where we have the nucleus of the team together. And because of that, and just through longevity, you get that understanding of your teammates. You learn not just about their basketball abilities, you learn about what makes them tick both on and off the floor.
There is freedom within, there is freedom without. Try to catch the deluge in a paper cup.
The strength of the Boomers was always that we played hard, that we were tough, that we never took a backward step. That was the trademark of the Boomers, and it still is.
Following the NBA lockout in 1998, Andrew Gaze joined the San Antonio Spurs, appearing in 19 regular season games on the team that would win the first NBA championship following Michael Jordan's retirement.
Greg Popovich was very honest and said, listen, I don't know how much you're going to play. I do have the ring. I've never worn the ring. I feel a bit guilty about the ring because I had very little to do with it. But as you know, when you're playing, you've got to play your role. And that can be just with morale, making sure that you're at a level that keeps pushing the other guys. All those things you've got to do in order to have the success. So I got a ring. Look up the most irrelevant player on a championship winning team, and there is a smiling face of me there, very happy.
There's a hole in the roof. My possessions are causing me suspicion, but there's no proof. In the paper today, tales of war and waste, but you turn right over to the TV page.
Andrew Gaze would make his 5th appearance at an Olympic Games in his home country at the 2000 Games in Sydney.
When the world goes in, they come to build a wall between us. We know they won't win.
We went into the Sydney Games with great expectations, but with the genuine belief on the back of what happened in '96 that we could win a medal. And I think that sometimes that's a little harder to do because not only was it an expectation amongst the group, the public expectation was probably even higher. You know, we knew that if we played really well, we could possibly win a medal, but we also knew we could play unbelievably well and come up empty, given the nature of the opposition. Semi-final game against France, Luc Longley did his knee. He missed a significant portion of that game and then wasn't there for the next game in the bronze medal game. And that was it's not an excuse, but it certainly provided a handicap for us and we weren't able to eventually win a medal.
The squad once again battled to equal their best showing, finishing 4th, once again losing the bronze medal game to Lithuania.
We had tremendous respect from every other team. Really, since '88, everyone was sort of like, geez, we were a team that no one wanted to play.
When the world comes in, they come to build a wall between us. No, they won't win.
Andrew Gaze would continue playing basketball for the Melbourne Tigers until 2005. At the time of his retirement, he was the all-time leading scorer in the NBL with 18,908 points over his 21 seasons. His father, Lindsay, would step down as head coach at the same time.
Coaching is a very much a skill in itself, and because you've had success as a player, doesn't necessarily equate to success as a coach. So, hopefully I'll be able to develop those skills. And right now I'm not even so sure that's something that I'm positively interested in doing.
It's similar to the Chicago Bulls in the sense that the Bulls not only lost Michael Jordan, but they also lost Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Luc Longley, Phil Jackson, the coach, the whole team in one go. Now if Gaze, Mark Bradkey, Leonard Copeland and Lindsay Gaze all go at roughly the same time, you could have a very similar situation, and we saw what happened to the Chicago Bulls.
Andrew would remain involved behind the scenes for the national team and in the NBL as a new generation of Australian basketballers looked to continue forward on the road that had been paved by the Gaze family.